Hello, welcome to the back room of a Chuck E. Cheese. I'm a man in a mouse costume surrounded by broken pinball machines smoking a Cuban cigar with a single tear rolling down my face. I had a chance at the ground floor of Apple, you know that? Movies! I've seen at least 4. In fact, let me count. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, Spy Kids 2, The Holy Mountain. That's it. Recently, I've eschewed going to the movie theaters because of a salacious dame the city likes to call SARS-CoV-2. She's a clever dame, the type to wear a thin mesh over her face that looks like a mosquito net and be lit harshly in black and white in a noir film, so there's a thin grid across the bridge of her nose. She also has made me chronically nervous about stepping foot into a movie theater since March of 2020, which was when I saw Uncut Gems for the 3rd time, a movie that makes you think, so this is what it'd be like if Adam Sandler followed his real dreams. And I need to Google who Kevin Garnett is. I haven't seen a basketball game since 2009. I loved Uncut Gems wholeheartedly, as it encouraged me to develop my own gambling addiction. And speaking of gambling addictions, thank you to today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Do I do too many fake out ad read gags? Is Raid Shadow Legends even, is that like a gambling, I don't know what these things are. Yeah, so I've been kind of nervous about going into theaters, but this last month I had a hankering to go see a film. The new Batman, you know, starring the guy who played guitar on that Death Grip song and that weird girl from Twitter discourse. She was so hot that people almost forgot she was creepy. This is a unique situation. No, it's not. I was told by an informant and confidant, my friend Ben, for whom I bought a hamburger and fries, that the theaters were pretty empty and I could use the selected seating thing to see how many people would be there, so it was not really an issue of an overcrowded theater. So a few weeks ago, my girlfriend, supermodel Cindy Crawford, and I donned our masks and sat as far away from anybody in the theater as we could to watch the Batman. The cerebral nature of the arithmetic we were pulling to select these seats was like insane. We were looking at the floor map with a protractor, pulling out the trigonometry we haven't used since freshman year, trying to find the best place we could sit so we weren't within breathing distance of another theater goer, but also so that our neck muscles wouldn't atrophy from the viewing angle. Sometimes you pick a fateful seat that really makes you look like a Theater 2 student playing an albatross in like a tableau assignment. One time my freshman year of high school, I went to see La La Land, and I sat in the first row of a theater, which is a cardinal sin, and I don't think my spine has recovered. Every single time I stand up, I hear a pop. I have permanent damage. And of course I blame Ryan Gosling, the savior of jazz. So anywho, I sit in this theater to watch the Batman for 3 hours. I see Robert Pattinson furrow his brow a bit, and it was good. Yeah, it was good. It was like 65% good and 35% baddish, but the good, how do I put, so the good, okay, so. Oh God, what's happening to me? What? Have you ever tried to cobble together your own pair of wearable glasses? I have, and it nearly landed me in an institution. Once the Swiss Bifocal Councils, a group of about 6 70-year-old Swedish oligarchs who sit at a Dr. Strangelove-style table and can have you executed for nothing, reviewed my designs. I don't think my kind, loving, cool, honestly like all-around likable viewers would want that experience, and Warby Parker doesn't want that for you either. Warby Parker is dedicated to providing exceptional vision care whether you're wearing glasses, sunglasses, or contacts. They offer sleek, modern-looking frames starting at only $95, and let me tell you, these things are quite supple. I gotta find a different word than supple to use. I used Warby Parker's quiz and trial system to order 5 pairs of glasses to cycle through, and oh boy, are they lovely, and the process was wicked easy. Am I from Boston? What just happened there? When I tried on these ones, I sent a photo to my girlfriend, and she said, oh my God, this looks so good, you should wear them more, and I was like, so I'm just not enough for you when I'm not in them, and it's not. Seriously though, these frames are so nice, the build quality and look of them are so stellar, and I'm just really psyched to have a nice pair of sunglasses for summer for once. So go ahead and try Warby Parker's free home try-on program. You can order 5 pairs of glasses to try at home for free. You get to pick from a ton of different frames. You get them for 5 days. There's no obligation to buy, ships free, and includes a prepaid return shipping label. There's literally like 0 risk here. So in conclusion, try 5 pairs of glasses at home for free at warbyparker.com/Ro Ramden. Alternate reality Ro that is filming a video right now, take it away. Hi, welcome back to the channel. If you subscribe right now, I'll don a mask and cape and beat the opioid epidemic into submission, something that the Batman could never do. How are you guys doing today? I'm feeling a bit paranoid, you know? You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you? But really, above all feelings, I am just feeling conflicted about this new Batman movie. I really haven't felt this way since I learned the guy in Passion of the Christ was actually Jesus, a real method actor, through and through. This video is going to be separated into a few sections, a Dark Knight section, where I just kind of talk a little bit about my thoughts on that movie, the movie critique section of the Batman, the sort of ideological problem I have with it, and then my hot takes. There's layers to this shit like tiramisu, to quote underground slam poetry legend Macklemore. I will also be using no footage from the Batman because Warner Brothers has a bounty on my head, and if I make one false move, they'll string me up and tie me to train tracks. I'll have to be saved by Johnny Depp in a really offensive getup, so don't let that happen. Now, to be fully clear, I'm not a nerd or anything. I've actually had sex with your mother a non-zero amount of times. I just have basically kept up with all of the mainstream Batman-related media franchises for the last decade, and so has your mother, with the frequency that we've been seeing each other. She enjoys the Arkham series quite a bit. She thinks that the weird, like, tank sections in the Arkham... You know, you can call her about it, tell her I say hi, ask her about her critiques, because she had some great things to say. Truly, though, my involvement with Batman started with the Arkham video game series. I played Batman Arkham City when I was in, like, 5th or 6th grade, and it was a pretty enjoyable, involved, and passionately contrived portrayal of Batman and his rogues gallery. It hooked me, and my sibling and I since have been sort of Batman aficionados, not super deep or anything, but we really like the character. And that obsession led us to the film that some people consider the best superhero film ever created. The Dark Knight was a big moment for 25-year-olds with graphic tee collections and 6th graders who think it's cool to carry around a butterfly knife. It was not a big moment for 6-year-olds who had just found out about Smosh, which was unfortunately me. I didn't realize that this would scar me, but it did. Listen, The Dark Knight is almost like 15 years old now. I didn't see it until I had my big girl pants, and I wasn't scared of the Joker anymore, so if any of these takes are hot, at least I am striking, while the iron is not. Fuck. I've seen The Dark Knight 5 to 10 times at this point, and I've accumulated an unhealthy amount of thoughts on it, but most of them are just that I am not as impressed with it as the first few times I saw it. Sorry, I just remembered I had to do my taxes. Oh my fucking god. So I can't just not do them? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's evasion. We've been over this.
And that's serious.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I signed up for this, I thought it was going to be pass-fail, so why is this serious? Or
no, no, it's serious, like, it's a federal crime.
Yeah, so you're just telling me you just have a flaccid take here.
What? No. Okay, well, let's get into these deductions. So we've got Greek fries, a ring light, LED lights,
yeah.
And you're not a TikToker.
Oh, you must be new? No, we don't say that. We don't say that word here. It's tantamount to a slur.
We have to talk about it. It's an income source for your tax.
I just listed it as independent content distributor, and I think you'll be fine with that.
I feel like that only works if you're like selling like DVDs.
Oh, so now you're the tax expert, okay? And you went to tax school, and you married a tax husband, and you have tax kids whom you go to tax events with, and now you're getting a tax divorce. Is that what it is?
You asked me for help.
I asked you, quote, to see if the way I filed these was a vibe.
And it's not a vibe, it's a violation of federal law.
Violating federal law is absolutely a vibe.
Literally when?
Theranos.
Okay, that is not fair. Like, you do not have the girl boss energy.
Oh, so a docu-series isn't a vibe now.
It was one documentary, not a docu-series, and it's a mood. They curated a mood.
Okay, cool. Well, then me evading these taxes will be a vibe.
Okay, no, don't evade your taxes.
Okay, I won't evade my taxes if you work on your attachment issues, because you've had 15 people through this fucking apartment in the last 3 months. That might be a good place to end the sketch, actually.
Yeah.
I'll work on my taxes once you go to warbyparker.com/RoRamden. Yeah, the artifice of a placid lifestyle is just crumbling in my hands like kinetic sand. This is fucked. Heath Ledger is electric in The Dark Knight, absolutely. Michael Caine is British, so he plays an elderly butler with bone-chilling realism. It's like I'm really there. Christian Bale is... Lord help us. I like the Nolan Batman movies, but I don't like the Nolan Batman that much. I know it's an old take, but the voice he does is like way too much. Bruce Wayne is a little too boring in one note to stand on his own legs as a character, and Batman being so stilted and goofy looking is tough enough without him opening his mouth to release his voice that he used for his Smaug audition. It's just embarrassing. The action in The Dark Knight is good. It's not great, okay? The set pieces are excellent. Yeah, everybody remembers the semi-truck flip, everybody remembers the gliding, but people don't remember the minutes-long car chase that leads up to the semi-truck flip for a reason. It's just not as compelling. You can follow it, it is above average directing, you're not getting hopelessly lost like some action scenes today, but it doesn't reach like Raid 2 level action direction. The Dark Knight's greatest strengths that are not the Joker are its visual iconography. You know, the movie visually sticks in your head pretty well, something that I believe the Batman arguably does better, and its thematic cohesion and character dynamics, something that I believe The Dark Knight undeniably does much better than The Batman. There's not really an argument to be made there. I bring up The Dark Knight here because whenever a Batman movie comes out, it has to compete not only with other films that are in theaters, but the deified state of this film, the almost incomprehensible reverence that this movie is given compared to other superhero movies. I just think that as somebody who has seen this movie many times and has watched it in many different stages of my life, this is not a flawless masterpiece. This movie is made by the Joker and by the pressure that he puts on the city, period. It's a pretty solid script. Heath Ledger is core to the film and its legacy. I'm saying all of this so that when I tear into the Batman like it's a carcass and I'm the kid from Hatchet, you won't think I hate it. Spoiler alert. Are you a little baby who hasn't seen the Batman because you're afraid of bats because you fell into a well when you were younger before your parents were killed by a random mugger in front of you whilst exiting a performance of Nice Work If You Can Get It? A show headed by Matthew Broderick, the zaniest vehicular manslaughter committer of our era? Well, then don't watch this video. Really, though, the spoilers here aren't super deal-breaking for enjoyment of the movie because the plot is so contrived you're going to be a little confused when things are revealed anyways. It's a bit like looking at a flowchart in a biology textbook. I still don't exactly understand where rain comes from. And the earth is flat, also. Also, some of my thoughts on this movie may be a bit odd because my girlfriend did have me on a leash with a ball gag while we... I should cut this joke. I should cut this. I'm cutting the joke. It's gone. Okay, the Batman has an acting problem. It's the name of this video, which is funny when I say it, because Batman is really interesting because all of the critiques and praise I've seen thrown at the movie don't speak at all to what I was thinking when I was watching the movie, which like genuinely threw me for a loop. The first one that really spun me being that most people thought the performances in this movie were serviceable, if not good. Okay, first things first, the acting in this movie is not bad, okay? The actors are not bad. The acting direction is a little kooky, a little quirked up. It's busting it down sexual style, and it may be goated with a sock. I cannot look at you with a serious face and tell you that Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, and Colin Farrell are incapable of delivering a good performance. That would be silly. I'd be made to wear a dunce cap and face the corner, like I was made to many times in first grade when I wouldn't stop swallowing the Jack set. So these actors are good, and there are some interesting characterization choices being made. I especially liked how Robert Pattinson sort of played this gloomy, emo Batman. I like that. But from the perspective of directing them, these interesting choices just aren't being made as much. And a lot of choices on the editing side, so far as dialogue goes, felt a bit uneven. I think it should be said that I really enjoyed the first half of this movie. It felt like it knew what it was and it played to its strengths exquisitely, honestly. This movie is shot beautifully. It is oozing with style, personality. The shots are composed tightly. The camera work is dynamic. The coloring is dark and beautiful. There are lots of really small, brilliant touches in the cinematography and direction. The first reveal of the Riddler, shots taken through mirrors, shots left out of focus and entirely communicated through sound design and these vague moving shapes, silhouette usage. This film has a prodigious sense of visual cohesion, and a lot of that is owed to the director, Matt Reeves, and the cinematographer, Greg Fraser. This is not a movie that someone who didn't know what they were doing could have made. There is a great deal of skill and prowess here. Not just aptitude, but developed mastery. In the first half of this movie, you're getting a lot of rock-solid scenes made great by use of visual storytelling. You're getting some really well-directed action, too. You know, maybe not as iconic as the Dark Knight scenes, but a bit more exhilarating, perhaps. Matt Reeves understands how to choreograph and direct a fist fight a bit better than Christopher Nolan, in my opinion, if we are comparing and contrasting with the Dark Knight trilogy. But whenever the film takes over to the dialogue side of things, it can get a bit cheesier, a bit heavier-handed, stilted, even. This is understandable, you know. Of course, visual information and scant dialogue can be played a bit bolder to convey information, and then switching to dialogue-heavy scenes with the same tone and content can make them feel not campy, but out of place. But even so, with the way that the first act of this movie was progressing, I felt that it knew that the heavy dialogue was its Achilles heel, and it would continue to kind of flex the strength and visual aesthetic throughout the movie, but if anything, it did the opposite, which confused me. I recall there was a moment when Catwoman says something like, "Oh, what do you live in a cave?" to Batman, and my girlfriend and I audibly groaned. At the dialogue. We weren't being weird. We were talking about groaning in public one time and never live it down. You guys don't even know about my other public groaning incidents, right? I used to make a career of this stuff. Sorry about that. Back to the Batman. There's this scene about 2/3 of the way through the movie where Batman finally confronts the Riddler at Arkham Asylum. It reminded me a lot of when my mother confronted me about why I had searched Pokemon sex on the family MacBook when I was 8. Low punny. It was low punny. That's why I had done it. And I do it again. I gotta go outside. But this scene is where the entire movie started to nosedive for me, really. First of all, it was way too long. The dialogue was strangely haphazard, and it also really materialized the weirder parts of Paul Dano's Riddler performance to me. Specifically the parts where he starts yelling, and it really feels like he's playing up this caricature of an autistic person that aligns with the hyperfixations of the character in a kind of needlessly indulgent fashion. Clip fell out. Oh, God. Oh, God. Where'd the other one go? And after this point, the movie just really starts dragging its feet, which is not a problem the movie had before this point. Oh, we get a lot more talking, a lot more deliberation, and the final action set piece, although not super contrived, is nowhere near as fun or as engrossing as the previous set pieces, especially the car chase, which weirdly enough, the first half of the car chase is directed almost incompetently, but then the final part of the car chase is like, I would say as good as the semi-truck flip, or it made me more excited even. Whereas the first half of the movie made me say, I can't believe it's already been an hour and a half, this is going by so quickly. The second half had me yearning to explore the sophisticated and tantalizing body of the Coke Freestyle machine that was only 100 feet away. Lime root beer tastes like ass. Milk Sprite tastes great. If you're wondering, oh, why is there milk in there? Well, there's not milk in there. You have to milk the machine, idiot. If you try to open up the back of a Coke Freestyle machine, you'll understand that it's a real, living, breathing creature. If you tear its heart out and bring it to a Coke executive, they give you the Coke formula, and then they need to kill you, so they feed you to a baby Freestyle machine for sustenance. So let's talk about the final set piece of the movie. Essentially, the Riddler is an influencer who recruits a bunch of Twitter super followers to try to shoot a bunch of people at the swearing in of a new mayor. And then also he blows up the seawalls of Gotham and floods the city because Bruce Wayne was an orphan, and so was he, but Bruce Wayne got attention, and he did not, and also orphans are treated bad, which is fine. Orphans being treated badly isn't fine. It's that's a fine character mode. Sorry. This is an understandable reaction, and something I did many times on the playground as a youth during Bakugan tournaments. All of this set piece leads up to the final segment where this place where they were holding the inauguration is flooded, and Batman jumps into the water with a flare to lead a bunch of people lost in the dark to safety, fulfilling his childhood aspirations of being a sheepdog. Who would have guessed the guy dressed up as a bat is a furry, huh? Me! I would have. And then all of this culminates with Batman's final monologue over something in the way, where he's like, Gotham doesn't need revenge, it needs a healing or something, which is fine and good. But it's just one thing, because there's this one fucking perplexing part of the movie to me. So there are three main ways that I caught that the movie builds on this theme of revenge is bad or whatever. You know, one is that the Riddler is taking revenge and he's a bad guy, and also he live streams, which in my opinion is worse than murder. The average person who used Periscope in 2016 is on a list somewhere, and they deserve that and much worse. The average Twitch streamer shares more DNA with a parasite than a person. So that was the first instance. The second instance is there's this idea that Batman shows that healing power works when he guides people and helps them at the end, and it helps them. And then there's this big section for the third one with Catwoman and her father, and Jesus. Okay, first things first. In this movie, like, almost every cop is corrupt and against Batman, and a huge part of the story is like, so many cops are corrupt. Jim Gordon is the only guy Batman can trust. There's like a point where they're walking through like this secret crime club, and Catwoman has these like cool like Google Glass things on, and they're identifying all of these people who are in the crime club, and it's like, oh, that's the district attorney. That's the blah 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 blah. Like, everybody's dirty in this movie, including me. Why do I do this? So Catwoman's father in this movie is Falcone, you know, a crime lord, an absentee father, a murderer of many people. The Riddler is dropping hints the whole movie saying that this guy is behind a ton of corruption, and it is revealed that Falcone killed, I said Falcone, and it's revealed that Falcone killed Catwoman's close friend, who she was trying to track down and save at the beginning of the movie. So Catwoman says, okay, Falcone is a monster, he killed my mother, he killed my friend, he's behind so much of the pain and suffering in my life, I gotta kill this guy because he is a monster, he will kill more people, and he is seemingly above the law and has done this for decades. So she goes to his office and takes out her pistol to kill him, and then Batman like cuts the power in the building, and she misses her shot because he cuts the power, and then Falcone gets behind her in the dark and almost chokes her to death, like she's on the verge of death seconds from it, and then Batman saves her and is like, it's not worth it, blah blah blah, you could get arrested, don't kill, it's bad, like Batman shit. And then he leads Falcone outside to a sea of good, uncorrupt police officers who seemingly just spawned into the city like Cyberpunk 2077 NPCs, like so many police officers. This is the movie's real justice is served moment. And then the Riddler just shoots Falcone from the balcony anyways, and he dies. What the fuck happened here? When I say the Batman has an acting problem, I'm referring to two things. I'm referring to, of course, the stilted acting and acting direction of this movie, and I'm referring to the sort of lukewarm defense politics that Batman plays in his comics. The idea that killing an aggressor makes you as bad as them. Now, in real life, I don't think we should kill criminals, okay? I believe in rehabilitative justice, but Gotham is a different universe. It's not real life. It's a comic book. It's canonically got, like, so many curses running, okay? These villains are, like, ontologically evil. This is a guy who is gonna kill his daughter, and her best friend, and her mother, together and do all of the crime in the galaxy and murder everyone in history. Like, this is not real life. It all comes down to this weird point where it's like Batman is willing to shatter some random henchman's skull and leave them on the pavement to die of internal bleeding, but when it comes to getting the top person and preventing them from acting, he is adamant about not hurting them even when aggressed, like even in self-defense. Once again, in real life, this idea works. Nearly all people who commit crime do not deserve to die, okay? Your average shoplifter is not the Joker. Now me, I'm the Joker. I got so many quips. I got so many jokes, I got so many quips. In the movie, though, it made sense. Okay, from a character perspective and from a damage control perspective, Catwoman shooting Falcone in this instance makes sense. Yet Batman interferes, almost gets her killed, just so that the movie can, like, suck off the cops for a second, and then Falcone dies anyways, and Batman is supposed to be a hero here, I guess. Batman says that Catwoman would face prison if she killed Falcone, but she's, like, a notorious serial criminal already, like, operating in, like, illegal clubs with massive crime affiliations. Like, I don't know, dude. She could probably run away. She's done it before. I guess she could have gone to prison, but I don't know why Batman cares about Catwoman going to prison here. Like, she has committed crimes before. Is that not her whole thing? She's a thief and a cat burglar. Cat burglar. So to me, it feels more like a morality decision informed by Batman's, like, no killing policy, you know? If this series of events had resulted in them, like, apprehending Falcone and getting information from him, maybe this would have made sense to me, but, like, he just dies anyways, you know? And I don't think Batman realized that the cops would be there, like 50,000 cops. The quieter idea posited by the film here to me is that an aggressor can harm you as much as they'd like unprompted, but the moment you aggress back, you have lowered yourself to their level, which is just untrue. And I don't know if the director intended to make this point. Maybe the only point they wanted to make is, hey, Batman doesn't like it when you kill people and Catwoman could have gone to prison. And that's like a fine point, but when the movie presents it in this way, that's the point that I take away from it. And this is such an old Batman critique, because, like, the villains in the Batman origins are not as much people as they are just agents of violence and chaos, okay? They are basically ontologically evil. They just hurt people for the gag, for the bit, something I'm not unfamiliar with, and then Batman just acts like them being killed would be an equal offense. Now, I guess in Gotham, theoretically, a power vacuum from the death of a crime lord could just lead to an equally powerful crime lord rising to prominence. But in the case of, like, killing the Joker, who's gonna do it like the Joker? Huh? The Batman writers have been trying to make somebody do it like the Joker for decades, and nothing has worked. To be fair, I do think that Batman's policy is integral to his character and should not be changed, okay? The annoying thing here to me is the way he goes out of his way to impose it on somebody else, putting them at risk in the process, and then it just results in the movie having this weird hodgepodge of, like, mixed messages about the efficacy of his process. I do think that I'm nitpicking and biased here. I do think that the sequence is mostly fine, and there's a chance that that's not even what it's trying to imply, but I just think the movie could have gone without it or a different series of events, because I'm confused as to what it's trying to say outside of progressing the narrative of the film, connected to the theme. Anyways, this movie had some great moments. I am just tired of how this character gets written sometimes. Okay, here are some things that could get me death threats, and not from the government like usual. Batman needs to be a smidgen less boring, okay? In a lot of properties, okay? He needs something. He's a boring guy. He's got the personality of a Wonderwall cover. He reads like a sexless Elon Musk, and Elon Musk already reads like a sexless Elon Musk. Socially, he behaves like a Duolingo vector graphic of a shy man. Ah, yes, Batman, un hombre tímido. I see. This one is hot. I am sick of the sexual tension between Catwoman and Batman because it never materializes in any interesting way in any of the popular adaptations. I want to see Batman and Catwoman as buds. I don't want to see that sexual tension. I want to see them playing Dance Dance Revolution and getting fucked. I want to see them also, like, kiss, because when Catwoman is, like, when she's like hot in movies, and I think what else? I think the Riddler should have had awesome boobs. Yeah, that's it. Those are all of my thoughts. In the end, if you want a number score for what I would give the Batman, it would be a 6.5 out of 10. Which I guess I said at the beginning when I said it was 65% good. So why did you even watch this far? But really, thank you guys for watching this video. I just saw the Batman and all of these thoughts started to, like, swirl around in my head and explode out of my body, and I had to make a video about it. Once again, thank you to Warby Parker so much for sponsoring this video. Once more, warbyparker.com/RoRamden for a free 5-day trial for frames. Also, I have not plugged this in a while, but I would really appreciate it if you guys would check out my Patreon. I haven't plugged my Patreon in a second, but I am trying to move towards, September of this year, and I do need money for that, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could join my Patreon, because living is not free. But if you subscribe, just donate as much money as you're comfortable donating with. Like, don't subscribe for the perks, because I've been god-awful with perks, and I'm brainstorming ways to make it up to you guys. But all of my patrons, also, when I ask them if they, like, are mad about the perks, they're like, we don't really care. We just like seeing you be a jackass on the internet, which is very kind. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. Be kind to yourself and others, unless that other is ontologically evil and a Batman villain. And remember that you are loved, not necessarily by myself, but by somebody in this world, or that you will be loved. Okay. As always, it's been a pleasure. Bye.